This is Taylor from the Museum, and I have a do-it-yourself project, something that you and your family can make right in your own home. Today, we will be making cascarones. So what is a cascarón? A cascarón is an eggshell that has been dyed and filled with paper confetti. They are a springtime tradition here in San Antonio, and we crack them over people's heads for things like Easter, birthdays, Fiesta, and other major holidays. And we want you to join in the fun. So, to get started, we're going to need to prep our eggshells. Now, in my house, we save eggshells all year round in order to have enough cascarones for everyone's birthday and all of the major holidays. Myself, my brother, and my mom were all born in the spring, and so we all love to have cascarones at our own birthday parties. So, in order to save the eggshells to be able to turn them into cascarones, anytime we use an egg in the kitchen, we crack it in a very special way. I'm going to take my butter knife and I'm going to whack my egg right at the top of the shell here. I'm going to use that crack that I just made to gently peel the eggshell away until I make a hole that is just big enough for the yolk to come out, somewhere between a nickel and a quarter size. And it's okay if your hole doesn't end up right on the top. This one's a little crooked. It's all going to work out in the end. So you can see my hole. I'm going to gently pour my egg out. And now I'm going to take this shell, I'm going to rinse it and dry it. And then we store our eggshells in old egg cartons in the pantry until it's time to make cascarones. I'll put this off to the side. We don't need to wait for this egg to be ready to go, because I have 3 eggshells already prepped and ready. Our next step is going to be to dye our eggs. Let's get started. In order to dye our eggs, I'm going to need hot water and food dye. Now, I might also use some other ingredients as well. I have heard that adding vinegar to your egg water helps it to dye more vibrantly. You get a brighter color, a stronger color, and I love vibrant cascarones. So we're going to try that today. Now I happen to know that vinegar is an acid, kind of like lemon juice. And because I know that the opposite of an acid is a base, I want to do an experiment to see if a base, like chalk, or today we're going to use baking soda, I want to see if a base will create a vibrant egg just like an acid will. My hypothesis is that no, it's going to make a less vibrant egg than an acid, because base and acid are opposite of one another and therefore behave differently. So we're going to design an experiment to test that out. When I do an experiment, I want every instance of my experiment to be the exact same, except for the one thing that I'm changing in each one, the variable. So I'm going to set up each of my 3 cups for my 3 eggshells exactly the same. I'm going to add my food dye. I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drops of blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to each cup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to add 2 drops of yellow to each cup. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, I have a tea kettle full of hot water here. I'm going to add 1 cup of hot water to each cup. All right, now for the variable. I'm going to leave this cup the same with just hot water and food dye. This will be my control group. Next, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of vinegar to this cup right here. Okay. Now vinegar is an acid, like a lemon juice. And so I want to add a base, something like chalk, to this last cup to see if it does something different, because I know that acid and base are opposites and behave differently than one another. So I have baking soda today, which is a base. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of baking soda to my last group. Okay. Now we're going to add the eggs. The eggshells are full of air right now, so they float on top of the water, just like an inner tube full of air floats on top of water. So I'm going to use my spoon, and I'm going to fill the eggshell with water so that it sinks down to the bottom. And give this one a little stir. Make sure that vinegar got mixed in nicely. And it goes. And again, I want to get the vinegar off my spoon before I go into the baking soda cup. And that definitely needs a stir. All my baking soda settled to the bottom. Perfect. Now, I can see I've got air bubbles forming in my vinegar cup and in my baking soda cup. I know that with the vinegar, the acid in the vinegar reacts to the calcium in the eggshell to create little bubbles of carbon dioxide that float to the top of the water. I'm not entirely sure why there are bubbles forming in my baking soda water. Maybe we can find someone we can ask that question who can help us learn a little bit more. Now I'm going to let these eggshells sit in the dye water for about 3 minutes. And then I'll pull them out and we'll see what color they turned out to be. Okay, I have my 3 different experiment cups. My one with just water and food dye, my one with water, food dye, and vinegar, and my one with water, food dye, and baking soda. Let's take the eggs out of the different solutions and see what happened. First, the hot water. You gotta shake all of that water out, otherwise it's gonna drip forever. Next, the vinegar. And last, the baking soda. Interesting. We have 3 very different vibrancies for our 3 different eggs. The vinegar definitely got the most vibrant of all 3 of my eggshells. If I line them up all together, you can really see the difference. So I happen to know that food coloring is an acid-based dye. That means that it needs to be in an acidic environment in order to attach to whatever it is you're trying to dye. And so the acidic vinegar in the hot water helped the food dye attach itself to the eggshell, which made the most vibrant eggshell of my 3. So now I know that in order to make the most vibrant, the most colorful cascarones, I need hot water, vinegar, and food coloring. I'm going to let these eggshells dry before our next step. Okay, my friends, now that I have my dried, dyed eggshell Try saying that 3 times fast. It's time to turn this eggshell into a cascarón. To do that, I'm going to need paper confetti, liquid school glue, and some small squares of tissue paper. I'm going to take my paper confetti and fill my egg somewhere between 1/4 and 1/3 full. Now it doesn't look like a lot of confetti right now, but trust me, this is plenty to make a mess with. I'm then going to take some school glue and very carefully go around the outside of my egg, right around the hole here. It doesn't take a lot of school glue. Just a thin little line is enough. Then I'm going to take 1 square of tissue paper, place it over the hole, and gently smooth down the sides so that the hole is all sealed up. Once that's dry, it's time to play. All right, my cascarón is dry, which means we're ready to go. Molly here agreed to help me out with this next step. When it's time, you're going to take your cascarón. You're going to gently squeeze it in your hand until it starts to break. Right? This way, when you crack it over someone's head, it doesn't hurt them. My friends, thank you so much for making cascarones with me today. Now, we at the Duceum would love to see your cascarones, so be sure to take lots of pictures while you're making them. Take pictures of your cascarones in progress, of your finished cascarones, even the aftermath of your cascarone fun. You can share them with us on social media by tagging @the_Duceum and #Duceum@home. If you're looking for other activities right now, look down below for a link to other Duceum at home activities that you and your family can do. Thank you so much for making with me today, my friends. We'll see you next time. Your iconic outfit had to be a wool sweater and braids. I have galoshes for you. I have a whole little rain set, a cute little cotton dress, lots of things that would have been easier to clean than this, Molly.